Welcome to Bowtie Sometimes Cool, myself, Ashley, and Ed.
Good evening, Ash. After saying we were
Yeah.
taking a little break the other day, events have overtaken us.
Well, absolutely, which meant that we have to come back on quickly. We're not joined by the third Bowtie because prior commitments, but there may be an insert video, or there might just be a separate video that we post for him. So we'll see. We'll see. But we're here because there's been some big Doctor Who news this week. Whether it's big
There
good
has.
news is another thing, but it's not really. But I'm here to say to Ed, what does it all mean? As a layman, just tell me, bring me up to speed with the Doctor Who world and everything that's going on in it with the big news this
Okay,
week.
but we're going to go back to the 31st of May last year, if anyone remembers that. It was the end of Nsuti's second season. Ncuti Gatwa's second season as the Doctor. There were strong rumours that there had been everything wasn't happy, everything wasn't all roses in the Doctor Who production, that there'd been quite extensive rewrites and reshoots of the final episode, and that Ncuti may well be on the way out. I saw it in a cinema full of people. It was a good atmosphere. It was a really good atmosphere. When Jodie Whittaker turned up, there was a huge cheer, which I really liked. And then we get this regeneration coming almost out of nowhere, and the regeneration goes on, and nobody really expected it. Like I said, if you're a real nerd fan like me, then potentially you've been reading up spoilers, and I thought, okay, yeah, yeah, all right. And I'd been hearing rumors about who the next Doctor was going to be. And I thought, nah, they won't go there. That's too ridiculous. Regeneration ends, and lo and behold, it's Billie Piper's face, and she says, "Oh, hello," and that's it. And then radio silence. It's People started pointing out that it didn't say introducing Billie Piper as the Doctor. It just said introducing Billie Piper. So was she going to be the 16th Doctor? Was she going to be the Bad Wolf? Was she going to be Rose Tyler? We don't know. So radio silence for a long, long, long time. And then it's announced by the BBC that there's going to be a spectacular Christmas special in 2026. Hooray, fantastic. The story's going to be carried on. We're going to get the resolution to that cliffhanger and see actually what happens. Radio silence again, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Rumours growing that the Christmas special has already been filmed. It's in the can. The Christmas special hasn't been filmed. It hasn't even started yet, or it's been cancelled. And about 2 weeks ago, when Russell T Davies was on Radio 2 promoting his Channel 4 drama Tiptoe, he was asked about Doctor Who, and he said, "Oh, there's a press release coming in the next couple of weeks, but you know the slow pace the BBC works at is going to be checked off and signed off by absolutely everybody." And that couple of weeks turned it out to be Wednesday this week, when it was announced that the Christmas special had been cancelled. Russell T Davies is stepping back from Doctor Who, but also Bad Wolf Productions, who've made the show for the last few years, were stepping back from Doctor Who as well, and that the series was being put out to tender. So the BBC are actively looking for a co-production partner to take on production of Doctor Who, and that's really where we are at the moment. It feels similar to 1989 again. I was talking to a old friend. He's not old, he's a bit older than me. Old, but he's been a friend for a long time about it last night. And he says it's worse than 1989 because they had it all and blew it, where they had this wonderful deal with Disney. They had one of the best up and coming actors in the world with Ncuti Gatwa. They had everything going for them. And somehow they dropped the ball. Whereas in 1989, it was almost like the BBC were actively trying to get rid of it, putting it on against Coronation Street, etc. But it's there's been a seems to be a monumental cock up somewhere along the line, which we'll probably never know about, which has led to this situation that we're in today, where Doctor Who is now on hiatus for the foreseeable future, and that's where we are.
Yeah, I suppose that's the problem, isn't it? Really, putting out the tender. I mean, you could think, yeah, great, someone could pick that up straight away, or no one could pick it up at all. And the second, obviously, the second one is the fear, especially if when you've had a big company like Disney behind it. they couldn't make it work with the BBC, then yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure really. Not sure what that means for the future of Doctor Who. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We literally it could be a year. They get on someone who on board and it's really enthusiastic, and they start pushing them out a lot quicker because there was quite a gap between episodes these days, wasn't there? You know, or it could be that it's 4, 5, 6 years again, if not more. We just don't know.
I mean, optimistically,
But
you'd be probably looking at 2028, 2029 at the earliest, because the way legal things take, and you know yourself how long it takes to cast a new James Bond, so Doctor Who's going to take a long time to cast, and also the situation that's been, I was going to leave a bad taste in the mouth. I mean, would it could almost be a little bit of a poison chalice? Which actor wants to commit to it? Now it's almost the goodwill it had at the end of Russell's first run seems to be frittered away over the years, and it's an awful thing for me to say because I love. I mean, I'm making no. I'm not going to try and hide it. I wasn't a fan of Matt Smith. I wasn't a fan of his at all. But I loved Peter Capaldi, and I absolutely adore Jodie Whittaker as the role, and I quite like Shooty as well. However, for the longevity of the show, it might have been better had it finished when David Tennant's first run finished, because now it's sort of 16 years later, there'd be people clamoring for it to come back now, and it would have left on a high. I don't know. That's just me thinking at the moment. I made a little video for myself for my TikTok Eddie Metal channel the other day. You don't mind if I sort of repeat myself on this,
no, no, no.
but
Carry on.
I try and be as positive. Looking at the positives, last time we went off air, there was almost like, even though it was on television, there was a creative renaissance. There was a lot of Doctor Who about. We had the Virgin New Adventures novels, which for me, they're still my favorite era of Doctor Who. Series of books which were, what was it? The tagline was too broad and too deep for the small screen. It was the continuing adventures of the Seventh Doctor and Ace, and they brought out a new companion called Professor Bernice Summerfield, who was just wonderful. But people who worked on those, you had Mark Gatiss who worked on it, you had Paul Cornell, and then you had one Russell T Davis who submitted a novel for the range. So the people who were writing novels in the 90s were the people bringing the show back sort of 10, 15 years later. You also, in the Wilderness years, you had Big Finish Productions, again, getting all the old doctors on board, making audio dramas. And again, it was people who would go on to have some sort of influence on how it was made. Some of the stories have been adapted. Big Finish stories. What's it called? Jubilee. Robert Sherman's Jubilee was adapted as Dalek for television. Parts of certain stories in Big Finish have been used in the TV one, and the Big Finish range. They did release some stories which were probably better than what had been on the TV before. So there was Spare Parts, which was the Sideman origin story. There's Doctor Who and the Pirates, which is a semi-musical set based on Gilbert and Sullivan with Colin Baker. You've got to hear it, really. Chimes of Midnight, which a lot of people names one of their favourite Doctor Who stories ever. Probably the ultimate Doctor Who Christmas special with Paul McGann and India Fisher. So they brought Paul McGann back to do the audios. So there was that as well. And again, all these things were like the building blocks of getting to where we were in 2005, to bring the show back with people who had been there in the Wilderness years and sort of kept the flame alive. So I'm thinking now, if it's going to be off air that long, people we've interviewed on Bow Ties, Dominic G. Martin, Georgia Cook, Rob Valentine, Ali Winter, and if I've forgotten anyone, I do apologise. But people like that are the creatives who are making new Doctor Who stories for Big Finish now. So when you're looking at how the series, if it finally comes back, you could do a lot worse than looking at those people because they've got pedigree in writing wonderful, wonderful Doctor Who stories. We were talking before we went on air about the Call Me Master box set, featuring Sacha Dhawan's Master. Rob Valentine, Georgia Cook have contributed to that. They've contributed to how that Master's personality evolves. So these are people who absolutely know, and they absolutely love, live, and breathe the characters, and I think they know what makes a good story. So it could be a time to stand back, sit back, reflect, look at what we have got, and look at how it could be shaped in the future with the brilliant people we've got working on it now.
Well said, Ed. Well said. I suppose the
I
good bit
try.
about that is you can also dip into which is your favourite Doctor because they cover you know,
Yeah,
all of them really. So
yeah.
on Ed's bombshell on his amazing point, I think we're finished there. We've been Bow Ties in Tie School. I've been Ash. Ed's been Ed.
And I've been Ed. And James may have been James down there. You never know.
Yeah, maybe we don't know. Take care. Bye for now.